Hello everyone, this is Riccardo Mazzini and this is Vlog, and this is the vlog boxing of The British Way Counterinsurgency at the End of Empire by GMT Games, the Coin Multipack, Volume 1. Now, why did I choose to make an unboxing rather than a full review? Because this game is rich. It is full of content, so much content that I felt that I needed to try it and experience it so much that having had this game for just a few weeks, because I was one of the P500 backers for these P500 subscribers for this game, I just had a few weeks ago, I just needed much more experience. But I really love the idea, the concept of this game. I read the rule books that are available on the GMT website, and also I played the examples of play in the Great Vessel module. Well, I felt I needed to do something about this game, and so I decided, well, let's do an unboxing, and together with my unboxing video, some first impressions. But as is the style of this vlog, I like to call these videos vlog boxing, that is reasoned unboxings. Why? Because I have already read the review books, I've already examined the material, I saw the cards, I split them in separate decks, so you will find that some of the components have been already manipulated by me, already handled by me, so that I can give you a more reasoned opinion of the components and the contents of this great offer by GMT Games, of this great product. Why do I like it so much? Well, it is a multi-pack, which means many more scenarios. We have got 4 scenarios here. We've got Palestine 1945-1947, the end of the British Mandate in Palestine. Yes, it's the Exodus movie all along. Malaya 1948-1960, and then Kenya 1952-1956, and Cyprus 1955-1959. We will see each of these scenarios, and they can be played independently or together in one great sweeping campaign about the decolonization strategies by the British, the former British Empire, in its former colonies and protectorates and mandates and so on all over the world. As the Americans tend to say, if we need the base spot, we need to intervene in a certain location in the world, we just know that there is a British possession somewhere there, in the vicinity of that place. And this is very interesting because we are after World War II. The British Empire is disgregating, but there are so many strategies, so many different situations, and so many challenges that the British Empire had to answer to manage this dissolution of its former empire, and those strategies were very diversified. However, this game has a very precise thesis, which is also very interesting from an historiographical point of view, that is that there is a certain image of the British having a soft decolonization approach. Oh, there's so much expert, they have this large empire, they know how to deal with these populations, with insurgent movements, and so they treated them kindly, and it was not so much violence and so much strife. Well, this game is about the confutation of this somewhat revisionist vision, and let's see that the British were as violent, as ruthless as the French, in some cases even as the Italians were, all around the world, as the Americans have been in the Cold War, as the Russians have been. Everybody has been with these far off countries that were discovering their national identity. and these 4 scenarios serve just that. It is very interesting, and I really love this argument, this topic, because it is not so much treated in simulations and also in historical books. So let's begin by seeing what's inside the box, and as always we start with what's outside the box. On the back cover we have examples of the 4 maps and the general descriptions of the 4 scenarios. Palestine, 1945-1947, Jewish insurgent groups have resumed hostilities against the British mandatory Palestine, aiming to secure freedom of access for Jewish immigrants. Jewish immigration, remember Exodus, fundamental management and then exploitation by insurgent movements of all those immigrants which were escaping from the Holocaust. So, this is not a footnote of history, absolutely not. Refugees and eventually an independent Jewish state. This is the birth of the state of Israel. Once again, Exodus. I know Exodus has been contested. This is somewhat a controversial movie because it is essentially seen from the eyes of the Haganah movement. The Haganah movement is present in these scenarios. That is the moderate Jewish movement. But it is very interesting as a movie because it gives you that perspective. In this perspective of this game will be the Irgun, the more extremist movement, and there will be this. The author said, we know there is a great chapter to be written about the Palestinian movements for independence, and possibly there is material for another coin title in its own right. Malaya, 1948-1960, the Malayan Communist Party have begun a campaign of sabotage, strikes and armed resistance against British rule, seeking to emulate the successes of Mao's guerrilla war in China. This is much more wargaming, this scenario. Every scenario has its own characteristic. And Kenya, 1952-1956, this is the most violent, the most cruel scenario of the 4. Militant nationalists known as Mau Mau have risen up in Kenya's central province, fighting not only for their independence but also for land and freedom. This is very violent. This is really very tough, very hard issue. Cyprus, 1955-1959, this is the most peculiar one. The National Organization of Separate Fighters, EOKA, led by veteran guerrilla fighter General Grivas, seeks to achieve a gnosis. What is a gnosis? Union with Greece. A gnosis is union in Greek, through a carefully orchestrated campaign of sabotage, protest and propaganda. And this is billed as the easiest of the 4 scenarios. Is more similar to Palestine. Very interesting because it is somewhat a blend of political and also military simulation, much more than the others. Game contents, there's the game contents and the credits. The game designer Steven Rangazes. I really love how new names are coming out in the coin family. Most of the times young designers. We are just fostering a new generation of game designers, which means a new generation of games. Folko Ranki, hi Folko, the coin series design, of course. Game development, Joe Divos, great guy, and very competent, very knowing all this stuff. Coin series developer Jason Carr, graphic artist Matthew Wallid, great work, absolutely fantastic maps, very readable, very essential, love it, love the style. And production coordinator Tony Curtis. Now this small framework, 2 players, yes, there is no solo module, but it is not so needed. Why? Because I think that these games are so simple, so easy, that it's very easy to play them at the best of all your abilities. I don't think there is a need for any bot. I don't like bots in general. These games can be really easily played by 1 player only. 1 to 2 hours per scenario, of course. if you do the campaign, I will put this to 7-8 hours, even a bit more, which is fine, which is the duration of a long coin scenario. Complexity 4 out of 10, totally agree, no doubts about this. Senator suitability, I'm sorry, 4 out of 9, 7 out of 9. And yes, as I said, very easy to play them solitaire and very interesting to play them solitaire too. Even a bit more than coins. I like to play coins in God mode, keeping all the 4 players. This is even better, is even easier. Oh, and one very important thing, each game has a separate event deck. Inside you will see 4 different decks, 1 per scenario and 1 campaign deck. So highly diversified. It is not just the same game with 4 scenarios. We'll see that. Okay, let's open the box. As I said, the components are a bit mixed up because I've already done the video in Italian, but I already, even before the video in Italian, I just browsed these components, I examined it, and I studied it. So first thing we are going to see the counters. Let's put them away. 4 rule books, 4 different rule books. Each of those rule books is about 1 scenario. You will say, oh my god, I have to read 4 different rule systems. Do not worry, each of these systems is 80 to 90% identical to the other. There are small variations, but those variations are fundamental. Those are crucial to really characterize and singularize every single scenario from the other. It is very different from each other. I like to say, well, the one thing that I came to is that there is a fundamental division between game mechanics and game dynamics. Game mechanics are the rules, this stuff. Sorry for the wind. It's a bit of a windy day here in Rome. Game mechanics are the single rules, okay? You do initiative in this way, you activate these tokens, these pawns. If you do pieces, if you do disorder, this happens, and so on. Dynamics is the interaction between all those mechanics. And just by making a small variation in the actual mechanic, or in the deck composition, or in the deck events, etc., or in the map, you create totally different and totally peculiar dynamics. And each of these scenarios has 80 to 90% of the same game mechanics. We'll see the main ones, but totally different mechanics, totally different dynamics from each other. What are the common mechanics? Well, the common mechanics, let's see, the rules of play. You see there are essentially 9 pages, even less, 8 pages of rules. Very easy. If you are an experienced coin player, you will teach these games in minutes to a total newcomer to the coin series. And even if you don't know the coin series, you will understand this game in 15 minutes. You will be playing it. It is that easy. And very nice rule book, very nicely laid out. It has these rules, then an example play, 4 different examples of play, illustrated and commented examples of play. Very nice, very good to understand how the different rules work, useless work, and then the description and the historical description of all the cards together. Fantastic, fantastic. And at the last, the setup instructions, so the setup diagrams. So the most common mechanics are initiative, okay? It is a somewhat simplified system as seen in Colonial Twilights. How does it work? The first eligible makes a choice. Do I do a limited op, an event, or an open special activity? Let's say I do an event. Okay, I place my token here. I'm doing an event. My faction is doing an event, and I apply the event of the cards that has shown up, just like in every coin. Then it is my opponent. If he does a limited op, he's left from that position. He does his limited op, but he will be first eligible in the next round. He will have the initiative. He will be able to choose. If he does an absent special activity, I will stay first eligible because I'm at the left of this position, and he will become just second eligible. There is a fourth option to pass. With pass, you are sure you're getting a minor advantage. You are sure that you will be first eligible, and you are sure that the event will not take place. This is the only way in which the event can be so it is very interesting. And another important thing, see, okay, let's just see, like in most previous coin series volumes, only one event card is revealed at a time. Okay, this means that you will not be able to see what is coming in the next turn. This is very important, and this makes for a much more tense and dramatic game, because you really don't know what's going to happen next. There will be propaganda cards. Oh, and one thing important about the decks, in proportion, you know, in every coin game, some of the cards are left out, some random cards are left out at the beginning of a scenario, which is good to avoid the card counting. I really love it. And in these games, 1/3 of the cards are left out, on average, which means these are much less predictable games. You have to adapt more. You don't know what's going on next, what's happening, and then yes, you will have to adapt much more. These are more condensed actions, so it is also more replayable. It's much higher replayability than the original coin games. Very interesting once again, and very peculiar from all the other coin games. This is why I think that it's worth to have this game, even if you are a coin expert, if you are a coin veteran, especially if you are a coin expert, especially if you are a coin veteran. And then there are the orders, the special activation that are different from scenario to scenario, and I will let you understand and will let you experience all those scenarios by yourself. And this is the fun of the game, and also because I didn't yet experience that myself. Now, before the maps, I'm going to let you see in the PAC. I just want to show you the fourth rulebook, the campaign booklet. And here is the campaign rules, which are somewhat similar to Turn Zero of Twilight Struggle, because there are different premises, and then what happens in one scenario, some of those things will carry on the next one. And the campaign is great because those 4 episodes are not happening in a vacuum. They're happening all over the world, in the same world, so the consequences of one scenario will be felt in another. Campaign booklet has campaign rules, but also the historical part, the historical exposition, and wow, a bibliography, 2 pages of bibliography, general bibliography and bibliography for every scenario. This is a dream, just a dream. And the usual stuff that we also love in coin games also a quick start guide, which is very nice, but they are really so simple games. There's nothing too complicated. The four scenarios. The first scenario, it makes you think about the coordination between different insurrectional groups. Why? As I told you, you are Irgun, but there is a Ghanad, there are the moderates. At the beginning of the game, they are with you, but depending on your actions, it's a bit like a third player managed by a bot. Depending on your action or on cards or events, they can be swayed over to the British, and they will give great advantages to the British, so you have to manage your insurrection. While as the British, you have to press, but not so much, and really split the insurgent movement. Another very interesting dynamic. Malaya, there is the country restoration, so there is a village relocation, a bit like a distant plane where you were playing with demographics. But also, like in Gandhi, there is much of Gandhi here, of course. There's also an example of British decolonization. There is a prison box, as there is in Palestine, but as in Gandhi, the British leadership will change over this scenario. So you'll have different British governors and leaders that will change your approach during the game. Kenya, this is the mobile gaming of them all, the most violent. There is villagization and the tension, but also direct confrontation, a bit like Far in the Lake. There is an escalation, and the public opinion, the internal public opinion, which is much more important than in the other scenarios. So the most direct confrontation scenario of them all, but as always very interesting. And Cyprus at the end, maybe this is the simpler ones, at least as they say in the rule book. Even smaller map than Palestine, but there is a more political track to be taken into account, especially the foreign international opinion. You have to go a bit lighter as the British, and while at the Cypriot, it's a very peculiar situation because the Oka did not want guiding independence. The EOKA, the insurgents, in this case, they wanted just a union with Greece. And soon they were carrying out an hybrid campaign of propaganda, political propaganda in the cities, but also guerrilla in the mountains. There's a bit of mix of them all. As you see, what incredible scenarios. As a support for all this, you have got your usual panoplia of tracks, and these tracks and these charts, panoplia of charts. This is a campaign track for the campaign game, and also the usual PAC, player charts with propaganda rounds. They are double face. I get some questions. Can I play all the 4 scenarios with just one box? No, you can't. Even with the application of the materials as it is devised, I think that at the very most you can play simultaneously 2 scenarios per box. But it is so nice, so it is not a problem. And great player rate charts, very nice, very well done. Absolutely top notch. These are the maps. I'm going to open them, and as I said, double face maps. You have 2 vertical maps. This is Palestine, IOC, very nice map, very readable, everything is on it. And there is Malaya, They are tighter maps than Cuba Libre even, but it is not surprising considering the nature of this title. Then you have Kenya, which is the only one without sea and the most interconnected map of them all. Essentially every space is connected to one another. And after Kenya you have Cyprus, possibly a smaller map, but once again very interesting, very nice, and I really love what has been done with this map. Very functional with initiative track and so on, and all the boxes here on the map, so this very small table space. After that, the cards. If you have, as I said, I already split the decks. The campaign deck, okay, and very nice deck, very nice cards, sorry, with photos, with pictures, with nice images, good, very readable, simple events, and 4 decks, one for Cyprus, one for Malaya and Kenya, and one for Palestine. As you see, I'll let you the Palestinian one. As you see, there is no initiative track around here, it is not needed per the game rules, and there is always, as always, the event is double. You either activate one or the other. Take care, there are capabilities, these are effects that are lasting for all the game. There are British capabilities, insurgent, like these gunner capabilities, and there is also dual capabilities. That is, capabilities that advantage one faction in one aspect and the other in another, and there are the usual propaganda cards. So essentially victory conditions are verified. These are the cards, very good, very nice, very good quality, all the cards, but we expect that from GMT. And at last we have the pieces where dice. Yes, there are a bit of actions that are resolved through dice, and these are just the usual coin pawns. So in the end, as I said, great offer, a great way to approach coin titles, but more even than that, to approach coin philosophy. What coin titles try to do with simulation, and I really love how GMT put out this product to really let you understand this aspect, this element. Those 4 titles let you understand how coin games are supposed to work. And even more than rules, what you are going to do. There are no analysis paralysis. There are so many different ways to win, so many different things to do, but your choice is much more limited. It is much more, and it is not limited, it is much more direct. So it is easier for you to understand, okay, I want to do this, okay, I've got to do this order, this activation, I've got to activate this event. But then there are coins, so lots of things are happening all at the same time. There are 4 scenarios. They're highly differentiated from one another. They're not just the same scenario with small variations repeated 4 times. They're really 4 different games, but there is a fil rouge, there is a connecting line between them, and that is the decolonization, and it is very, very interesting, and it is very, very nice, very thought-provoking. Those, and also more to connect all those games to one with the other. There's the campaign mode, the great campaign mode. Once again, I did not try all those game modes. I read the rulebooks, but from what I've read, my first impression is that those modes, those ways to play this game, they will be great experiences. So don't take my word for it, try it, and it is a very good pack with a very good price for value ratio. There is lots of content, really so much to play, to explore, and this is for sure, this is absolutely for sure. I went through some examples of play and I really liked what I saw, so I really eager to experience it during this summer holidays. It will be one of the games I will be trying this holiday with my father and my friends when I'll be on holiday this August. One thing that leaves suspended is that will it be able to compensate for the loss of the absolutely typical coin dynamic of 4 players cooperating but not cooperating, contrasting, opposing each other so much, opposing. Why? Because all of these are 2-player games. I don't know. This is somewhat I have to try. This is some that I have to try. Sorry, but I'm sure that these are 4 very tense, very dramatic 2-player games, and of this I have no doubts. So possibly it will compensate in this way. Anyway, this is also another testimony of what we already know as wargamers. That is that the quad format is a great format. I really loved with Brian Train what he did with the Brief Board Wars and other authors that are bringing back the quad format, and for me it is fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic. This game comes at more or less 70 to 80 euros, more or less the same price in dollars, but just think that for $20 a coin you are getting great coin game, and they're getting 4 of them in the same box. It is hard to beat that. So much content in one single box. In conclusion, this is a box that teaches you how to think in coin terms. They teach you the coin mindset. They are great if you never experienced coins, and after that you can get to Cuba Libre or all the other 4-player coins without any difficulty. They are great if you're an expert in coins that wants to expose coins, to illustrate coins to someone who has never tried them, or two, if you are with other coin veterans and you want to have a quicker game, or you want to experience the great campaign mode. Fantastic. Really, I really like what I see, and I'm sure that they will be great. Next volume will be Guerrilla Generation about South America. I like to say that I love the coin series so much that I allow myself to like some coins and not others based on the subject. South America is not really my thing. British way, counterinsurgency, colonization, and so on, they really interest me, but also Guerrilla Generation will be fantastic, no doubt about that. A great introduction, if not to coin titles per se, to the coin mindset and the coin ways of thinking. This has been my vlog boxing for the British way. As I say, it's been quite long for an unboxing, but these are also my very first impressions based on what I saw and what I read about the British way. Thank you so much for being with me. As always, have a nice time, take care, and remember, don't be scared. It's just war games. Ciao.